Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad ALIUDDIN. Today, me and my group member would like to present about PENJANA, also called the National Economic Recovery Plan. So for introduction, PENJANA, or the Short-Term Economic Plan program, introduced in 5 June 2020 by the Prime Minister AMIRUL Yassin. It is an important approach by the government to Malaysian economic recovery from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The PENJANA program consists around 40 different initiatives. It will cost around 35 billion to Malaysian government, and RM10 million will be utilized in the form of direct fiscal injection. PENJANA will focus on 3 key thrusts, which is empowering people, proper business, and stimulate the economy. So moving on to the first key thrust for PENJANA, which is empowering people. The main agenda for empowering people is to tackle the people concerns of losing their job and source of income, as many economic activity have been badly affected by the implementation of Movement Control Order, or MCO, during COVID-19 pandemic. The aim of this key thrust is, firstly, to save jobs and promote employment while ensuring the people have enough to live on. Secondly, to provide an enabling ecosystem to help workers return to work and adapt to the new way of working. The initiative that I would like to highlight in this key thrust is Wage Subsidy Program. It is an extended version from the Prihatin. It shares the same objective as its predecessor, which is aimed to promote employee retention and reduce layoffs by extending the Wage Subsidy Program. This program extended for additional 3 months, which is from 1 October until 31 December 2020. The subsidy rate for current reception is RM600 per employee per month for 3 months, while new applicants is RM600 per employee per month for 6 months. This program will benefit over RM5 billion for more than 2 million workers in the country. So for eligibility or requirement for wage subsidy program, the first one is business sale or revenue have been decreased by at least 30% year on year from 2019 until 2020 after the implementation of the Recovery Movement Control Order (RMCO) during COVID-19 pandemics. Secondly, employer and employee register with and contribute to SOCSA prior to 1 September 2020. Employers should also register with Company Commission of Malaysia or other relevant local authority. Thirdly, is only for employee earning RM4,000 or less.
Hello, my name is Muhammad AZHAD and I will explain the second thrust in the PENJANA plan. The second thrust is to propel business. A PENJANA plan is a short-term economic plan that is designed to excel the country economy back, and is supposed to take action from June 2020 until December 2020. The plan is designed by the government to make sure that the country economy can be quickly recovered in a short term. Under the second thrust, government have allocated around 14.8 billion ringgit out of 35 billion ringgit in the PENJANA plan. These 14.8 billion ringgit are mainly focused on, not mainly focused, but mostly focused on micro and SMEs business. Its aim is to create business opportunity among people. Those can create a job opportunity then. Under this plan, government have give 500 million ringgit on the BSN micro scheme to help local business that have been devastated during the coronavirus lockdown. Luckily for the woman entrepreneur, government have given about 50 million ringgit solely focused on developing women entrepreneur in Malaysia. All the SME program are under the supervision of Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperative, also known as MEDEC. To greater excel the effect of the trust, government have been partnered with other e-commerce company like Shopee, Foodpanda, Boost, GrabPay, Touch and Go, Lazada and many other shopping online platform. The first objective of micro and SMEs campaign is to encourage other commerce towards business digitalization. Currently, most of the Malaysian businesses are based on the traditional business method. Traditional business usually involves some local stores offer its product by mainly focused to its local audience, and the person need to come to the store physically to buy the products. But if the store or the company change to the more digitalized platform, they need to follow the e-commerce model as the main blueprint. Under the e-commerce model, the hassle of the traditional business method will be avoided, and buyers and sellers will be gain more benefit with the model. To make sure this transition is apparently go smooth, the government have allowed company like Boost and Touch and Go to help people with the online payment platform. These companies are indeed a partner of the government in the micro and SMEs campaign in Malaysia. To further accelerate the boost of micro and SMEs, government also collaborate with Foodpanda, Lazada, Grab and Shopee as other platform to promote SME campaign. The benefit of the SME campaign can be seen as been reported that an increase of 140,088 people have been registered in the online business platform compared to the 42,620,000 in 2019. This is clearly show that most of the business have been moved towards digitalization in Malaysia. The second objective of this campaign is to support local micro and SME businesses in Malaysia. Under this campaign, people who will be benefited the most is the people who living in the rural area, because the only possible problem to these people is the lack of infrastructure and connectivity to connect them to the city area. And the success of this campaign also depending of the work of the various party on the shopping's perspective and on the payment perspective. So that's why government partners with Touch and Go and Boost in the payment department, with the Lazada and Shopee on the business platform to better accelerate the performance. The objective of this campaign is also depends on the online business platform promotions. For example, like Shopee is very famous for their 11/11 sales. The sales is only happen on the month of November on the 11th day. Due to this kind of promotion, Malaysia already seen in a spending increase on the online platform to 34.5% between October and November compared to 3.4% between March and May this year. This increase in spending and on the online platform is not a surprise, because the numbers of people that have been go through online business have been increased, has been recorded before.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad ISKANDAR bin HAMZAH. Now we proceed to the next point, which is PENJANA program. Firstly, the government of Malaysia introduced Economic Recovery Plan, referred as PENJANA, on 5th June 2020, which is an initiative to restore the economy and assist the citizen to deal with the economic crisis during this pandemic. The third core thrust of PENJANA is stimulating the economy, which make the government implement the PENJANA program as initiative to encourage consumer locally spending and for the society to shift from using cash to e-wallet. The PENJANA also targeted safe practices through contactless payment. Next, the Malaysian government has allocated 750 million ringgit for implementation of PENJANA program and provided 50 ringgit PENJANA credit that estimated around 15 million Malaysian to stand benefit from the PENJANA, which is to be used for the purchases through selected e-wallet services providers such as Boost, GrabPay and Touch and Go e-wallet. Therefore, in order to redeem 50 ringgit credit e-wallets, the citizen obligated to install MySejahtera on their smartphone, and MySejahtera function as contact tracing app. In short, MySejahtera application will help the public health authorities to facilitate contact tracing for the COVID-19 through this application. Lastly, the objective of PENJANA program, which is to encourage consumer spending locally. During this pandemic COVID-19, the economy of the country declined due to the MCO that prevented people from doing their activities outside their home, including business and industry. Many people need to shut down their business because of no customer come to buy the product. So, introduction of PENJANA, which is e-wallet, makes people to able to purchase the product online even if they just stay at home. This e-wallet application not only for purchase product, but it's also as utility bills payment. For example, e-wallet Boost record 288% increase in the number of customers paying their bills, including electricity as well as the prepaid and postpaid bills. People now have the option to pay several telecommunication bills, internet and water bill in 13 states. Although people need to stay at home, they still need to pay all the utility. Surprisingly, the electricity bills increased drastically during MCO due to the fact many people spend more time at home than ever before. Moreover, the high demand for the food delivery service helped the restaurant able to operate even though the country is now in MCO. The PENJANA will increase the customer spending in domestic because the application has many functions to the user, such as ordering food online for the GrabPay application. Many restaurant owners describe the business through the food delivery service using the GrabFood can help their business run smoothly. In short, by using the e-wallet during the MCO, people able to boost the economy through the online services. Other than that, the objective PENJANA is to encourage people safely practice through the contactless payment. This can be referred as changing people to shift from cash to e-wallet. The reason why people need to prevent from using cash is to minimize the contact between the buyer and seller through the payment process. So, according to the World Health Organization, found that transmission of COVID-19 is through air, and a group of international scientists conclude that the virus can spread more than 1 meter. Therefore, the government implemented standard operation procedure by implementing 1 meter social distancing and mandatory wearing masks in public places. So, introduction of e-wallet will make people to well practice of social distancing due to the fact use of the application, which is MySejahtera, applications such as e-wallet not require buyer to make contact with seller. This is because to pay through the e-wallet, seller just scan the QR code from the buyer's smartphone, or buyer can scan the seller QR code and then key in the amount to pay. This is because even though there is no evidence the virus can spread in the money, but infected individual respiratory water droplet can contaminate any surface of an object, including money. So, various sources, including the United Nations, have reported that the COVID-19 virus could survive on paper money for several days. So, by washing your hand every time you touch paper money is one of the way to get rid of the virus. However, this recommendation is difficult to practice in business premises because the exchange of the banknote takes place continuously. So, the risk of contagion, spread of the virus become higher as the banknote changes hand from one consumer to another rapidly. However, the risk can be reduced with the technology which is e-wallet that allow cashless payment. For the payment of the daily necessities, e-wallet channel is the most realistic option. In short, people will not afraid to spend their money in public anymore due to the e-wallet. So it helps the growth of the economy in the country.
E-wallet and contactless card usage between Malaysia and Southern Asia country. According to Master Impact Record 2020, Malaysia drives its neighbour in the use of portable and computer wallet in Southern Asia. In the view of the outcome, in use in Malaysia is 40%, trailed by 26% in the Philippines and 27% in Thailand. Surprisingly, the innovation country of Singapore was fourth, with only 26% of its residents learning toward e-wallet installment. The examination depended on criticism gathered from 10,000 customers and business experts across 10 business sectors in the Asia Pacific. The Star reported that as the consequences of Malaysia market release performance by reporting fast adoption of web-based business, advanced installment and learning for online exercise, COVID-19, which brought about huge development requirement, had pushed energy toward the computerized economy in Southern Asia. The report recommends that while limitations have started to be lifted by most nations in the district, a portion of this example and practice are probably going to stay inside in the new norms. Almost 50% of buyers studied in Malaysia, one of Malaysia's more mainstream tech sites, have been confirmed to have expanded their internet shopping exercise. Different factors that have seen in an expansion in corporate web checking for news and division about 75%, online video web-based 57%, interpersonal interaction 55%, and home delivery of food and goods about 50%. Notwithstanding e-wallets, Malaysians have additionally moved to contactless charge card 26% and contactless visa 22% for installments. Money use has reduced by 64% since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, and other neighboring nations are likewise encountering a similar pattern. Money utilized reduced by 67% in Singapore, 64% in Philippines, and 59% in Thailand. The study found that in Malaysia, computerized practice, for example, web-based shopping and utilized of advanced installment were likewise higher than in different business sectors in Southern Asia. For the period of April, Malaysia made 80% more credit-only installment and 60% in Philippines and 50% both in Singapore and Thailand. Malaysia on micro and SME e-commerce campaigns. In the wake of the crisis, we have seen government effort to allow people to shop online, thereby reducing the need to venture out. Under the PENJANA e-commerce initiative, the Malaysian government launched two campaigns to encourage the growth of the digital market trading, namely the Malaysian Online Shop Drive and the Micro and SME e-commerce campaigns. Such a government program encouraged a multiple effect by injection, resulting in increased aggregate demands. At a time when the global economic instability is rife, inspiring customers to invest and helping traders digitalize their trading in a crucial way to fuel economic development. COVID-19 is changing traditional retail. With the implementation of the Movement Control Order MCO, non-essential company and retail stores were required to carry out operations to deter the transmission of the virus by human interaction. This means that many retailers have to look for an alternative way to market their goods if they wish to maintain their business activity. As a result, the e-commerce sector has undergone an increase in demands. Many business owners are pressing for online sales and selective market listing to increase their top-line growth, spotting that customers are already moved to online shopping. Just as offline to online strategy not only serve to create a modern marketing outlet for store, it also helps to cushion their physical store revenue fall off. Online grocery and the livestock marketplace. Sellers are now selling meat, seafood, and fruit, for example, chicken, beef, durians, bananas, to Shopee when wet market and bazaar are not allowed to open during MCO. In an NST interview with Shopee, there were around 1,000 fresh and frozen vendors on Shopee in April alone, including farmers and fishermen. Generally, many of the sellers selling a variety of more than 20 types of items in their store could produce monthly revenue of up to 100,000 ringgit Malaysia. This modern method of selling food and product is referred to as a competitive business model that saves vendors to the need for high startup costs. More resources should then be spent in improving the quality of the products. Economic growth. COVID-19 is pulling market around the globe, but it also pushing the distribution of technology and digital innovation that is helping to fuel economic growth. In Malaysia, the e-commerce market is projected to rise by 20% this year, likely adding up to 170 billion ringgit to GDP by 2020. In Malaysia, considering the implementation of Movement Control Order MCO to curb the spread of COVID-19, media assume a 20% rise in the contribution of e-commerce to the digital economy this year. The estimated growth could be achieved by the active participation of various ecosystem partners by going initiative, and media is likely to see the expected contribution to the gross domestic products. Malaysia Waste Subsidy Program (WSP) and Singapore Job Support Scheme (JSS). The COVID-19 virus effect uncommon. As part of their national budget, several countries have disclosed stimulus program to reduce the economic effects of the outbreaks. The stimulus package launched by the Malaysian and Singapore government has suspended the list of stimulus packages introduced by government in ASEAN countries in terms of their monetary scales. Both stimulus programs carried out by Malaysia and Singapore cover numerous forms of company aid such as loan and funding, working cash flow, tax relief, upskill of workers, and pay subsidies. It's important to remember that stimulus packages, according to their respective legal and economic institution, facility and response in each region, and difficult to compare correctly across countries. The government will support easily buy time for firms to brave the hurricane to emerge stronger afterward. The Malaysia government has allocated 13.8 billion ringgit Malaysia, and the Singapore government has allocated 20.6 billion Singapore dollar to help companies keep their local worker by subsidizing or co-financing salary during this time of economic instability. Malaysia have adopted stronger policy or program declared by the government. However, there are several contrasts to the Singapore and Malaysia. The first one is application is subject to approved by the government. Unlike Malaysia, Singaporean employers who are eligible under the program will automatically be eligible for benefit. This will eliminate any expected hiccup between the application process and guarantee that the government incentive will benefit all eligible employers. The next point is subsidy period is only for 3 months. As per that it can take months or even year until the global economy find its root. Therefore, a longer period of government assistance tend to be important. By supporting employer salary for just 3 months, there will not be enough to save company from a major slowdown. On the other hand, the JSS account for the co-financing of salary will be for end of the year. In addition, the AZHAD of JSS declared on 6 April 2020 expanded government co-financing to 75% for the first 4,600 Singapore dollar monthly wage for all workers of all sectors in April and May 2020. The last point is to retain employee for 6 months. Despite the shorter subsidy duration, the WSP has a tighter provision stating that employers are not permitted to resign, to instruct workers to take unpaid leave, or to subtract any amount from the salary of employee for a period of 6 months. In certain conditions, real cost-cutting steps such as pay cut or temporary unpaid leave for workers can appear be more realistic for some business to remain alive in long term. In contrast, JSS provided 9 months subsidy. There is no strict requirement save for strongly advising.
Next, I will proceed with issue on PENJANA and solution for improvement undertaken by the government. Issue regarding empowering people in terms of which subsidy program is some of the employer did not pay salary for their employees even though they receive subsidy given by the government. According to Minister of Human Resources, Datuk M. Saravanan Murugan, he said that Social Security Organisation, SOCSO, received more than 846 complaints about misuse of wage subsidy, around RM31 million. SOCSO also traced that most of irresponsible employers make a fake claims and misuse of wage subsidy for their own interest. This action give a huge impact to the employees itself during this pandemic COVID-19 because they have been dismissed from work, and also the initiative given by the government in this hardest time cannot be achieved. The solution took by the government is government will impose punishment towards employer that misuse of subsidy given. Collaboration between SOCSO and Department of Labour is to overcome the issue by trace and illegal action made by the employer. Chief of Executive SOCSO said that any employees that faced with these employers can make a complaint and lodge a report to Department of Labour and SOCSO for them to take a further action. Details about employees who give cooperation to overcome this issue, their identity will be kept. Government also said that punishment towards the employer who misuse the subsidy program will be blacklist their name. That will burden them in future, which is they cannot travel outside from the country and difficult for them to create a new organisation due to their past record. Next, the issue regarding e-PENJANA, which is use of e-wallet, is about the security of people's identity. Risk of breach information is really high due to citizens that claim for the voucher 50 ringgit Malaysia need to submit their name, their identification card and address. in any e-wallet platform and MySejahtera apps. As we know that today in Malaysia, cybercrime is really active, even though the security built in online banking also easily can be hacked. Therefore, citizens afraid of breach information because from our personal information, it will reveal everything about ourselves. And also, they scared if there is any irresponsible people get the data, they will use for their own interest or any illegal action. Solution for improvement towards e-wallet issue is government guaranteed that they have strong enough security to hide people's data information. Ministry of Finance said that National Registration Department already have our own information and it will not be shared to other bodies. Other than that, e-PENJANA is protected under Personal Data Protection Act 2020 that only allow for government to save, collect, use and process the data to implement the initiative purpose only. Ministry of Finance also highlighted that everyone that want to claim the voucher must give a correct information, and if there is any fake information, they will be punished under Section 233 under Communication and Multimedia Act 1998. Lastly, issue regarding Propel Business, which focusing on micro and small medium enterprise e-commerce campaign. The issue is it is only give benefit for part of the businesses only due to demographic factor. As an example, people who stay in rural area will not receive the same benefit as people stay in urban area. It is because in rural area we have only small population and they are not familiar with e-commerce platform like Foodpanda and Grab due to e-commerce platform did not applicable in some rural area. So, it is unfair for businesses in rural area because ideas and platform recommended by the government cannot help to boost their business. So, the solution taken by the government is in order to boost business in rural area by using e-commerce campaign and platform is Ministry of Rural Development improve Desa Mall, which is one of the program that have been established in 2017. According to the Minister of Rural Development, Dr. Haji Abdul Latif Ahmad, he said that improvement of Desa Mall is to attract more participation of businesses in e-commerce. Other than that, Malaysia Communication and Multimedia Commission (MCMC) also cooperate with Ministry of Rural Development regarding the internet access in rural area to ensure that the citizen can use e-commerce platform to sell and buy goods. Lastly, Majlis Amanah Rakyat also give suspension for entrepreneur by extend 6 months for any loans made by them.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Haykal bin Yusni. So for the impacts of PENJANA on the business sector, so from the Jana programs which had primarily focused on assisting the business sector, especially small medium enterprise in Malaysia, it somehow helped these people to at least help them survive or recover their businesses during this pandemic. A survey conducted by the SME Corp Malaysia had shown that 17% from 982 respondents stated that they are confident their business can recover in 3-month times with the aid of PENJANA. Besides, the SME Corp Chief Executive Officer mentioned that the initiative taken to stimulate the economy can help the SMEs to run their businesses. Thus, it can be inferred that the programs created by the government under stimulate economy, key trust, had gave a huge positive impact on SMEs and give them the opportunity to revive their businesses to survive in this pandemic. Okay, so for the impacts of PENJANA in economy, PENJANA had caused the unemployment rate to decrease from 5.1% in second quarter this year to 4.7% in third quarter of 2020. This is because the programs created under PENJANA, such as moratorium loan and tax incentives, it has helped to cushion the negative effects and provide more momentum for SMEs development. Thus, many jobs in SMEs are secured from the aid given. For example, PENJANA with amount of 50 ringgit, allowing some people or consumer to have the purchasing power and thus can help stimulating the economy through spending. Therefore, PENJANA, which was executed in June, had given a huge impact on creating jobs during this unprecedented pandemic. Okay, so for the implementation of PENJANA, there are few feedbacks that can be positive or negative from the public. Okay, so for the positive feedback, some believe that PENJANA can ease the burden of the tourism sector. The president of Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents, MATA, claimed that one of the initiatives under PENJANA, which is extending income tax relief period by 1,000 ringgit for tourism expenses, is a decent way to revive the tourism sector. Besides, MATA President also complimented the Prime Minister for providing 1 billion PENJANA tourism financing, which will be made available to fund transformation initiatives by SMEs in the tourism sector. Thus, the tourism sector had shown a positive feedback on the aid given to assist the tourism sector. Okay, so for the negative feedback, the critique is regarding the policy implemented is inadequate to help the 20% Malaysian poor group, which these people relying on daily salary and those who run small businesses, and some are even jobless during this time. In other words, PENJANA failed to address the financial problem faced by the poor people in Malaysia. This is because even though the policy had covered the small businesses area by giving them 3,000 ringgit one-off payment, but it is inadequate for long-term period as there is no income aid or no follow-up for them in the PENJANA policy. Okay, so for the conclusion is the policy created by our current Prime Minister had put focus on 3 key thrusts, which are empowering people, propel the business, and stimulate the economy. Under these 3 pillars also, many programs were created to aid the public so that they can survive, especially in terms of financial. Therefore, many business sectors can run their business, especially for small medium enterprise, SMEs, and also micro SMEs. In a nutshell, the policy created, which are enforced on June until December of 2020, is to recover the economy of Malaysia in short term. And the policy created was a great initiative taken by the government, and it had benefited many people, especially those who have lost their job and struggling to survive during this period, and also have a good impact to our economy. Thank you.